can be done for like all those students. All right. Okay. So now let me start the screen share and let's start with the lecture. So this is our chapter. Lecture 1 है आपका यहाँ पे with the chapter of human reproduction. ठीक है. So this chapter will have like we'll initially start with the male reproductive system से हम यहाँ पे start करेंगे and then slowly we'll do the remaining topics and the chapter will roughly take around like आपके 6 से 7 घंटे लगभग 8 घंटे जितने ये ले सकता है आपका चैप्टर को खत्म करने के लिए. अगेन जैसे कि मैंने आपको बोला अगेन द चैप्टर इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी एक्सटेंसिव चैप्टर जिसमें आपको काफी डिटेल्स आपको नहीं देखने के लिए यहाँ पे मिलेगी एंड यू विल फाइंड क्वेश्चन सॉल्विंग बिकम्स अ वेरी हेल्पफुल टूल इन दिस टू अंडरस्टैंड और रिमेंबर नंबर ऑफ थिंग्स. अब यही चैप्टर आपने इवन पढ़ा था अपने 10th के अंदर. If you just go back, you have studied the same chapter in the 10th as well, but वो 10th पे इतना डिटेल में आपको नहीं सिखाया जाता जितना डिटेल में आप यहाँ पे सीखोगे. ठीक है. नाउ आज के लेक्चर में हम जो कवर करेंगे that will be your male reproductive organ. So that is something we'll try to cover. That is something we'll be try to complete today. That is my male reproductive organ जिसमें हम सारी चीजों के बारे में यहाँ पे बात करेंगे. So learning objective हमारे यहाँ पे क्या है? To understand about the male reproductive system, accessory ducts and accessory glands. तो इन चीजों को समझने का हमारा यहाँ पे ऑब्जेक्टिव है. So your objective will be to understand about the male reproductive system, accessory ducts and accessory glands. That is something you have to understand. ये सब चीजों का आपको यहाँ पे ध्यान रखना है. Now, starting with the human reproductive system. Okay. So let's have a look at a picture over here. So you can have a picture of a human reproductive system. You can see a picture over here. अब इसी picture को हम लोग label करेंगे class के end में. So class के end में इसे हम यहाँ पे label करेंगे. Apparently you can just see a picture without any labeling right now. But later on we'll be doing the labeling in the later part of the lecture. Okay. So just wait a minute. All right. Okay. So that is a picture with the labeling. जहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं you have a number of things over here. जो major main reproductive organ आपका यहाँ पे that is your testes. So testicle से testes जो आपकी यहाँ पे they are your major reproductive organ. So main reproductive organ is going to be my testes. So that is something you should know that your main reproductive organ जो आपका यहाँ पे होगा वो आपका यहाँ पे होगा testes. और क्लास के पहले 15 to 20 मिनट्स हम लोग इसको ही समझेंगे और इसको ही हम यहाँ पे डिटेल में हम लाइक यहाँ पे अंडरस्टैंड करेंगे. So we'll understand everything about the testes over here, right? Now when you talk about the testes and you have number of things over here, now let's focus on the testes. Testes are the main reproductive organs and testes are the site where the sperms have been formed. तो यही वो आपकी साइट है, यही आपकी जो testes होती है. They are the sites where you'll be finding the sperm formation will takes place. तो यहाँ पे आपका होगा sperm formation, right? और यहाँ पे आपके बनाए जाते हैं male sex hormone and the male sex hormone is always going to be your testosterone. So testosterone synthesis or testosterone formation will be seen happening in the testes. Along with that, that's a male sex hormone. That's a male androgen, जिसको आप even बोलते हो यहाँ पे as a in the simple language also called as a male androgen. तो ये मेल एंड्रोजन भी आपका यहाँ पे बनाया जाएगा. उसके साथ साथ यू विल फाइंड कि आपका स्पर्म फॉर्मेशन भी आपका यहाँ पे होता है. Now when we discuss testes, the first thing you have to know that testes are being kept in a bag-like structure and that bag-like structure is called as my scrotum. तो आपके scrotum के अंदर यहाँ पे आपकी testes are being placed over here. So testes are kept in a bag-like structure and that bag-like structure is called as my scrotum. So that is the first thing you have to know. So you can see over here. So these are the sex organ which we will try to cover in the today's class. We will understand everything in terms of the pair of testes, along with that accessory ducts, glands and external genitalia. So that is something we'll try to see. Okay. Now right now we are focusing on the testes and what are the role they are going to play. Now testes, as I've told you, they are kept in a bag-like structure outside the body and that bag-like structure outside the body is called as my scrotum. Right? Scrotum is a bag-like structure. It is been there outside the body, right? It is going to be there outside the body. Now, why the testes are being kept in the scrotum? The question is why your testes are always been kept in the scrotum. Now, the reason is that you want to give a slightly less temperature to the testes. So, in scrotum, the temperature is going to be around 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius less. Temperature जो आपका होता है आपके scrotum वाले एरिया में और within the scrotum, the temperature is going to be around 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius less than normal body temperature, less than the normal body temperature. So when you have a temperature which is going to be like 2 to 2 to 5 degrees Celsius less than the normal body temperature, ये temperature आपको कहाँ मिलेगा? That temperature I'll be finding in the scrotum. Now this temperature is essential for the process of my spermatogenesis. ये जो मेरा temperature मैंने यहाँ पे mention किया हुआ है, ये आपके लिए काफी essential है. This is going to be super essential for the normal process of my spermatogenesis. ये temperature आपको चाहिए होता है essential for the process of your spermatogenesis. That is sperm formation. So sperm formation के लिए ये temperature आपको चाहिए, and that is why the scrotum is outside the body and testes are kept inside the scrotum. तो ये जो bag-like structure है ये temperature maintain करता है. ये वो temperature provide करता है जिसके अंदर you can actually find the sperm formation can takes place very easily. तो एक तो ये एक बहुत ही important आपको यहाँ पे याद रखना है, right? Now there's one thing also you should be able to understand here is that you will be finding that your testes are connected to the abdominal region. Your testes are being connected to the abdominal region with that my inlingual canal. So there's something as my inlingual canal. We'll have a look at that. So I'll just mention over here. So your testes are being connected to the abdominal canal, or testes are connected to the abdominal. Testes are connected with abdominal region, are connected with the abdominal region. So your testes will be connected with the abdominal region, and that connection is with the help of a canal. So जो connection आपका यहाँ पे आ रहा है, the connection you will finding happening here is going to be just wait a minute. You'll have a connection of testes connected with the abdominal region, and that connection is called as connection is happening with the help of a canal, and that is called as my inlingual canal. So inlingual canal is a structure through which you will find your testes are being connected to your particular abdominal region. Okay, so here you cannot see over here, but you will find somewhere over here you have abdominal region in this particular area. So ये और testes यहाँ पे connected होते हैं, right? They have a canal over here, and that canal is called as my inlingual canal. We'll have a look at the picture later on. ठीक है, तो ये आपको मिलेगा बाद में देखने के लिए. Okay. Now let's discuss testes in slightly more detail. Now if you see the internal structure of the testes, अगर आप testes का internal structure अगर आप यहाँ पे observe करते हो तो आपको काफी चीजें आपको यहाँ पे देखने के लिए मिल जाती है. So when you observe the testes internally, the testes will be having a number of compartments. So if I have to draw, or if I have to like just show you a big section of a testes, अगर ये मेरी testes है, right? So testes क्या मिलेगा आपको देखने के लिए? That testes will have different compartments. We'll have a large number of compartments will be seen in the testes. We'll have a large number of such compartments will be there in the testes, and those compartments are called as my lobules. So these compartments which you have now, these compartments are called as my lobules, and you will have around 250 lobules in the testes. So they are called as my testicular lobules. Testicular lobules, and number of testicular lobules in each testes are going to be around 250. So 250 compartment आपको यहाँ मिल जाते हैं. यहाँ पर तो सिर्फ 4, 5, 7 ही मैंने बना के रखे हुए, but you will find around 250 compartments are seen in the testes, and these compartments are called as my testicular lobule. So that's the first thing you have to know. That is the number you will get to see in them. एक तो पहले ये चीज आप याद रखो यहाँ पे कितना नंबर आपको यहाँ पे मिल जाते हैं इन कंपार्टमेंट्स का. Now what do you find in the compartments? Now the question is कि इन compartments में आपको क्या देखने के लिए आपको यहाँ पे मिलेगा? What do you actually get to see in this compartments? So in this compartment आपको मिलेगा देखने के लिए presence of your seminiferous tubules. So in this compartment you will have a presence of a seminiferous tubules. तो यहाँ पे seminiferous tubules. अब जैसे आप स्कूल में देखते हो कि आप एक बेंच पे 2 से 3 लड़के बैठे होते हैं या 2 से 3 लड़कियां बैठती है एक बेंच के ऊपर, राइट? वैसे ही आपके एक कंपार्टमेंट के अंदर आपको मिलेंगे अराउंड 1 to 3 सेमिनिफरस ट्यूब्यूल्स. याद रखना, यू विल फाइंड द प्रेजेंस ऑफ सेमिनिफरस ट्यूब्यूल्स ओवर है. यहाँ पे आपको ऐसे ट्यूब्यूल्स आपको मिल जाएंगे एंड दिस सेमिनिफरस ट्यूब्यूल्स आर इन अ नंबर ऑफ 1 to 3. ठीक है, तो याद रखना एक कंपार्टमेंट के अंदर यू विल हैव अराउंड 1 to 3 सेमिनिफरस ट्यूब्यूल्स हैव बीन ऑब्जर्व. तो ये बात भी आपको क्लियरली आपको याद रखनी है कि कितने सेमिनिफरस ट्यूब्यूल्स आपको मिलते हैं एक सिंगल कंपार्टमेंट के अंदर. अब हम इनकी क्यों यहाँ पे बात कर रहे हैं? सॉरी, अब हम इनकी यहाँ पे इसलिए बात कर रहे हैं बिकॉज दीज आर द साइट्स, ये वो स्ट्रक्चर है जिनके अंदर आपको मिलेंगे आपके स्पर्म फॉर्मेशन होते हुए. सेमिनिफरस ट्यूब्यूल्स आर द स्ट्रक्चर इन विच यू विल फाइंड द स्पर्म फॉर्मेशन विल टेक्स प्लेस. इसके अंदर ही आपका स्पर्म फॉर्मेशन आपका यहाँ पे होगा. तो चलिए देखते इसको और थोड़ा सा समझते हैं ध्यान से. तो सेमिनिफरस ट्यूब्यूल जो आपके सामने यहाँ पे है, इनको जब आप अंदर देखते हो, when you observe inside them, so what do you find inside them? What do you actually see inside them? So now let's try to see that. When you observe the seminiferous tubule in detail, जब आप इनको observe करते हो, when you observe them, what do you get to see inside them? इनके अंदर आपको क्या मिलेगा? So inside them, you will find two things. Inside them, you will find two things. One, you will have your male germ cells. You will have male germ cells. मेल जर्म सेल्स मतलब वो सेल जिनमें से आप मेल गैमेट्स आप बनाओगे. मेल germ cells are the cells and they are obviously going to be diploid in nature. These are the cells from which I will be finding my sperms or spermatozoa will be formed, right? That's one thing I'll see. Second thing I will find within the seminiferous tubule is going to be presence of a Sertoli cell. Presence of your Sertoli cells. So these two things I will be finding inside my seminiferous tubules. You will have your male germ cells and you will have a presence of a Sertoli cell. तो ये दो चीज आपको याद रखनी है. Male germ cell are the one जिसको मैं फ्यूचर में यूज करके I will be making sperms out of them. I will be actually using them to make the sperms, right? By the process of my spermatogenesis, right? So please याद रखना, seminiferous tubule is a location where the spermatogenesis will takes place, right? On the other hand, Sertoli cells are also present over there. So Sertoli cell has only one role, and that one role, it will have one more role, but abhi ek role yaad rakhna. The one role of Sertoli cell is going to be nourishment of the sperm, nourishment of the developing sperm, nourishment of sperm. So whatever the sperms have been found over here, they will get the nourishment from the Sertoli cell. So Sertoli cell का एक ही काम होता है यहाँ पे nourishment provide करना. तो ये बात याद रखना. So this slide should be very clear to you that in the testes you will have around 250 lobules will be seen. We call them as a testicular lobule, and in each lobule you will have around 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules. And within the seminiferous tubules you will have your male germ cell and Sertoli cells. Right? Male germ cell are going to be diploid in nature, and Sertoli cells are the one which are known to provide the nourishment to the sperm. And this sperm formation is something which will take place in the seminiferous tubule, and the male germ cell are the one which are known to form the male gametes. They are the one which are going to be forming the sperm over there. इनमें से आपके sperm बनाए जाएंगे via the process of my spermatogenesis. So that's the first thing you have to remember in this. क्या इतनी बात आप सबके यहाँ समझ आ रही है? Shikha, Tanish, is this clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Right, and any other students is there along with आप दोनों के अलावा और कोई है हमारे पास क्लास में? No, we have only Mohit sir. Okay, all right. So this is something you will find happening over here. तो ये चीज पहले आपको यहाँ पे याद रखनी है, ये चीज आपको यहाँ पे होते हुए आपको यहाँ पे दिख जाएगी. Okay, now along with that, now you can see you will have number of seminiferous tubule. Now along with that you should also know that you have some space over here. Now let's say again, if I have to draw a, let's say this is my again testicles. Now in this testicles, what you will find, so again we know you have this compartments over here. Now within the compartment, as you know that there's going to be presence of a seminiferous tubules will be present over here, right? So you can have like 1, 2, 3 seminiferous tubules can be seen. Now you have a space between them. So within the lobule, outside the seminiferous tubule, you have a space. So yaad rakhna, outside the seminiferous tubule, outside seminiferous tubule, there is a space. There is a space. And that space is called as my interstitial space. That space is called as my interstitial space. Interstitial space. So that should be clear to all of you that outside the seminiferous tubule there is a small space over there and that space is called as my interstitial space. तो ये बीच में आपको यहाँ पे जो space दिख रही है इसी space को हम बोलते हैं यहाँ पे as a interstitial space. Now there is one thing you have to very clearly understand. You have this interstitial space and in this space you will have the presence of some cells. तो ये जो space आपको यहाँ पे दिख रही है space के अंदर आपको यहाँ पे कुछ cells मिलेंगे and those cells which have been seen over here are called as my Leydig cells. Now these Leydig cells which you find in this interstitial space are the one which are known to release the male sex hormone called as my testosterone. So these Leydig cells which you find over here, these Leydig cells are the one which are known to release the hormone and that hormone over here is called as my testosterone. So testosterone हमारे यहाँ पे रिलीज किए जाते हैं और जो भी आ रहे हैं आपके टेस्टोस्टेरोन आपका जो बॉडी में आ रहा होता है that is all coming from these Leydig cells. Leydig cells can be also called as my interstitial cells because here they are present in the interstitial space. So that is something you have to know. Now Leydig cells which are going to release my testosterone, remember that they are going to play a very important role. This testosterone will play a very important role during spermatogenesis. So जब sperm formation हो रहा होता है आपके seminiferous tubule के अंदर तब ये आपका बहुत important role play करता है. So this testosterone will play important role in spermatogenesis and also giving the male secondary sexual characters. So you will have your testosterone will have two roles. It helps in spermatogenesis. That's one thing. Second thing, it also helps in the giving the male secondary sexual characters. It also gives the secondary sexual characters in males. The secondary sexual characters can be as simple as you're having a beard on the face or low pitch voice or development of the muscles. So that is something all happens with the help of this testosterone. So helps in the spermatogenesis and also promotes the secondary sexual character in the males. So ये बात आपको यहाँ पे याद रखनी है. This is what my testosterone is known for. Please remember from where it is coming. It is coming from my Leydig cells. So इतना आपको यहाँ पे clear होना चाहिए. ठीक है? So now let's see what have been given over here. So you have a function of a scrotum. Scrotum is something which maintains the low temperature of the testes necessary for my spermatogenesis. Something we have already discussed. That is the temperature you need to have. Right? The cavity of a scrotal sac is connected to the abdominal cavity. So cavity of the scrotal sac is connected to the abdominal cavity through an inlingual canal. So that is an inlingual canal which connects the abdominal cavity with the testes or with the scrotal sac. So that is called as my inlingual canal. We'll show you a picture of that later on. So that is something you have to know. Now you can see a picture over here and in the picture you can very clearly see the compartments can be observed. So here the compartments can be very clearly seen in this particular picture. तो आप यहाँ पे compartments आप काफी अच्छे से देख पा रहे हो. So now you tell me. दो ही बच्चे हैं. अच्छा, we have someone has joined in the class. Gayatri, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Gayatri, why late in the class?
Sir, I went outside, sir, for that lane.
अच्छा, ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है. So Gayatri, we are starting with the human reproduction. Okay. So what we have done by far, we have done something in terms of the testes. We have tried to understand few things. Like there's something you have to understand over here. Testes are kept in the scrotum. Why in the scrotum? Because it has a less temperature. Around 2 to 2 to 5 degrees Celsius temperature will be less in the scrotum, and that is why we kept them into the scrotum. The testes have been kept in the scrotum because this temperature is essential for the spermatogenesis. So that is why we keep them, right? After that, we have seen that the testes will have number of compartments. Those compartments are called as my testicular lobules. The number is going to be around 250, and inside each lobule you will have around 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules. And these seminiferous tubules are the site where the male germ cells have been formed and the Sertoli cells have been seen. Sertoli cells का काम होता है to provide nourishment to the sperm, and these male germ cells are the one from which the male gametes, which are my spermatozoa, will be formed in the future. And then we have to understand there is a small space between the seminiferous tubules, and this space is called as my interstitial space. And this space is a site where I will find some more cells, like my Legit cells have been seen. These cells are going to release my testosterone, and that hormone will help in the spermatogenesis as well as giving the secondary sexual character to the male. Okay, so that is something we have done, Gayatri, over here, and now we are going beyond that. So now we can see these are the traits we have seen. Now here we have the compartment. Now you all know the compartment का number कितना होता है वो सब आपको मालूम है. So now if I ask you how many compartment, then you know the compartment are going to be 215 number, and the compartment are going to call as my testicular lobule. So all those things should be very clear to you, right? And you can see over here the seminiferous tubules can also be observed over here, right? And then you will have a space. Okay, so we'll come back to this picture later on. So इस picture को हम वापस इसके पीछे हम लोग आएंगे बाद में. Okay, so internal structure of the testes. So now we have also seen the internal structure basically. So now this is my interstitial space. And do remember this thing, the interstitial space will have the cells which are my Leydig cells, and they are going to release my testosterone, right? So you can see जहाँ पे seminiferous tubule उसके बाहर के जो space था उसे हम कहते हैं interstitial space, and here the cells which are seen are called as my Leydig cells, or you can also call them as a interstitial cells. So either you can use a term like a interstitial cells, or you can use a term like a Leydig cells. Right? Okay. So now we have seen the testosterone as well. It is coming from the Leydig cells and going to have a role in two things. It promotes your male secondary sexual characters, which are going to be like, as I've told you, having a low pitch voice, development of the muscles, development of the facial hair. That is something you will get to see, and spermatogenesis. So these are the two traits which have been controlled by my testosterone. याद रखना ये मेरा आ रहा है from the Leydig cells से, okay, and this is only something which you find coming in a high amount when the boy hits a puberty. As soon as the boy hits puberty, you will find that testosterone is getting released over there in a high amount, and because of that, the secondary sexual character have been seen in the boys. So this is something you should know. And other immunological competent cell are also present. So within the testes, you also have some immunologically competent cell. We'll have a look at them later, but अभी उनको देखने की समझने की आपको ज़्यादा जरूरत नहीं है. You can also find them in the testes. So testes के internal structure में आपको इतनी बातें याद रखनी है. These are the things which you have to remember in terms of the testes and its internal structure, right? Now this is a picture which is very important. तो यहाँ तक हमने देख लिया. So we have understood the testes and what are the things I'll find in the testes. Now we are jumping onto the idea of, or jumping onto the topic of your accessory ducts. So now we are into the topic of my accessory ducts over here. Now please follow the picture and try to understand few things. Now you know that if I ask you कि आपके sperm कहाँ बनाए जाते हैं, where the male gametes are being formed, तो आपका आंसर क्या होगा? What will be the answer over here? Seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules are the location where the male gametes of the sperms have been formed, right? This is where they are being formed. So the sperms are getting formed over here. But इनको बनाया यहाँ पे जाता है, but उनको आप transport भी तो करोगे. You are going to transport them. This is a site where the sperms are getting formed, but now they have to be transported. So how their transportation will happen? how their transportation will happen is something now we have to see. Now I'll come back to a picture. I'll just come back to this picture over here. One picture. Now let's try to understand this thing very clearly. Testes are the sites where the sperms are getting formed, right? हम कह सकते हैं these are the sites where the sperms are getting formed. Now those male gametes, those sperms have to be transported and has to be brought into this particular long tube, and that long tube is called as my vas deferens. तो पहले तो आपको उसे vas deferens के अंदर लाना है. My first job is to bring them in the vas deferens. Once they are in the vas deferens, then from there they can be sent outside the body with the help of the urethra. Urethra will actually be the region from which you will find the sperm later on will be going towards outside the body. That is something you will be finding happening. Now, vas deferens is a long tube. So first of all, you have to bring the sperms in the vas deferens, and then फिर वहां से वो body के बाहर आप उन्हें भेज सकते हो. So let's come back over here. Let's try to see that how my sperm will get into that long tube. That long tube is called as my vas deferens. So let's see that. So let's come back over here. Okay, so assume that this is my that long tube. This long tube over here is my vas deferens. This long tube over here is my vas deferens. Okay, this is your vas deferens over here. Okay, now this vas deferens. Now we have to bring the male gametes over here. Now let's see how that will be happening. Now let's try to see that. Now you know these are my seminiferous tubules. ये जो बीच में पिंक पिंक है आपका यहाँ पे, these are my seminiferous tubules. So here the male gametes are getting formed. Now what will be happening from here? The male gametes now has to be sent towards the vas deferens, but it will go through number of S3 ducts. So initially what will happen? These seminiferous tubules are going to send their content, into a small structure which is called as my retitestes. So from the seminiferous tubule, first of all, you will find the male gametes or the sperms will be transported into a small structure, and that structure or that region is called as my retitestes. You call them as a retitestes. Now let's see what is my retitestes. Now the question is कि यार है कहाँ पे मेरा retitestes? तो याद रखना, your retitestes is something which you can find somewhere over here, right? So this area, this region over here is called as my retitestes. This blue color area which I have shown you over here, this area over here is going to be called as my retitestes. So first of all, when the male gametes have been formed, those male gametes from the seminiferous tubule will be sent into the retitestes. Now what will happen? From retitestes, now you have to spend somewhere else. So from the retitestes, you have to send them into this large structure, this long coiled area. You can see this yellow color coiled structure. ये yellow color का coiled दिख रहा है आपको यहाँ पे, coiled tube like structure. This yellow color coiled tube like structure जो आपका यहाँ पे, that is called as my epididymis. That is called as my epididymis. So this yellow color का coiled structure जो आपको यहाँ पे दिख रहा है, this one, this yellow color का coiled structure is called as my epididymis. This is called as my epididymis. Sorry, it will be. So you will have this epididymis over here. This epididymis will be seen in this. Now, when we discuss this epididymis over here, so basically what will happen? From the retitestes, the sperms now have to be sent into the epididymis. Now, epididymis is a structure. It's a coiled long structure. And this structure this is a structure where the sperms have been stored. This is a structure in which you will find the sperms are being stored. So sperms बनाने के बाद आप store करके रखते हो in the epididymis के अंदर. So this region is the area where they are being stored. But there is a thing you have to understand. From retitestes, the sperm has to be sent into the epididymis. So they have to cross a bridge. There will be a bridge over there, and that bridge has to be crossed. Now let me tell you what is a bridge over here. You can see this purple color का आपको यहाँ पे दिख रहा है. Purple color का आपको यहाँ पे एक थोड़ा सा area आपको दिख रहा है. Coil structure which are in purple in color. You can see over here. This purple color coil structure which I have drawn over here, which I have marked over here, are called as my vas efferentia. That is the bridge. That bridge is called as my vas efferentia. So using this bridge, the sperms now will be sent towards the epididymis. The sperms will be sent towards the epididymis using this vas efferentia. So you will have this particular vas efferentia over here. So let me just add over here. This is my vas efferentia. And using this bridge over here, you can find your male gametes can be sent towards the epididymis के अंदर, right? यहाँ पे आप sperm को store करोगे. This is the site where the sperms will be stored. They'll be kept over there, and we'll also tell you a few things about that. But first of all, you have to know. So understand how the transportation is taking place. You have a seminiferous tubule. From there, the male gamete will go into the ready testes. From the ready testes, they will go towards the epididymis via vas efferentia. Via vas efferentia, they will reach over there. And once you find the sperms have been sent into the epididymis, over there they will be stored. Over there they will be kept over there, because epididymis is a location where the sperms attained maturity and motility. This is a site where I'll be finding the sperms are going to attain the maturity, motility, and storage of sperm is being seen happening over here. So let me show you over here. Let me show you this thing somewhere over here. See now in this picture. So now in this picture, you can see now you can very clearly see what is my ready testes over here. So let me just again label this. This is my ready testes. So यहाँ पे पहले आपके आते हैं male gametes. इस एरिया में आपके आते हैं male gametes from the seminiferous tubule. So seminiferous tubules open into vas efferentia through ready testes. Right? That is something they have mentioned over here. They will get inside the vas efferentia. Now you can see the vas efferentia over here as well. So this is a long structure. This is bridge over here. ये जो bridge आपको यहाँ पे दिख रहा है, the bridge here is going to be my vas efferentia. So you can see this bridge over here. This bridge यहाँ पे जो आपको दिख रहा है, this bridge is called as my vas efferentia. तो इन दो को आप यहाँ पे follow करो, vas efferentia and your ready testes, right? Once you have passed the vas efferentia, then you will get into this long coil structure, which is called as your epididymis. So epididymis के अंदर आप यहाँ पे आ जाते हो. So you get into epididymis, which is a long coil structure over here. Right? उसका head tail भूल जाओ, बस इस पूरे सिर को हम बोलते हैं यहाँ पे ऐसे epididymis. So you will get into this epididymis from via vas efferentia. So connection याद रखना, seminiferous tubule, then ready testes, and then vas efferentia के through you will get into the epididymis. So let's have a look. A network of tubule in a testis carrying spermatozoa from the seminiferous tubule to the vas efferentia. Something we know that you have a network of tubules which carry the sperm from seminiferous tubule to the vas efferentia. Okay. And from here, it will go into the epididymis ke andar. Right? Now, let's understand one thing. When we discuss epididymis, always remember one thing. You will find in this, it has couple of roles. First of all, it is known for the storage of cells. It is known for the storage of cells. Or I would say storage of sperms, sorry. What is storage of your sperms? So sperms are being stored in this particular region. So storage of sperms is been done by them. That's the first thing you have to know. Second thing, sperm maturation is something which takes place in the epididymis के अंदर. So यहाँ पे आपका होता है sperm का maturation. I can also say sperm attains motility. Sperm attains motility, and that is something also happening inside the epididymis. So when the sperms have been formed, they are not very active. They are they cannot move by themselves. They are not very active. So they attain the motility, means they are able to move now in the epididymis ke andar. They have been stored over there, and they also attain the maturation. So they are they will undergo the maturation inside the epididymis. So these are the few things you have to understand. Now also please understand, if the gametes or the sperms are not being used for a long duration of time, then they will die over there. And if they die in the epididymis, then they are being consumed by the wall of the epididymis. So if the sperms are not used for certain amount of duration, then after that they will degenerate. And after they are getting degenerated, they are being consumed by the wall of the epididymis. So ये बात भी आप यहाँ पे याद रखना. So that is also something you should be clear with. So please remember the role of my epididymis, which is a very important part of your reproductive organ. So these are all my structure which you have to first of all know. Now what will happen? From the epididymis, the male gamete will move into my particular long tube-like structure, and that tube-like structure is nothing but my vas deferens. So देख लो यहाँ पे, ये जो मेरा जो coil structure था, यहाँ से मेरा gamete directly आएंगे मेरे into the vas deferens के अंदर. So from here, the male gamete will get into the vas deferens. So is this thing clear to all of you? क्या ये वाली बात आप सबको यहाँ समझ आ रही है? Is this part clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. ठीक है. So this is what you find happening over here. So this is what you will get to see. Now, let's try to understand now few more things. Now over here, what you can see now. So now you can see the picture of your epididymis, right? So from here, the sperm will be sent into my vas deferens. Now vas deferens is a long tube. It's actually, you can see it's a very long tube, and this long tube makes a complete, like it surrounds around the your bladder. So ये जो structure आपका gray में है यहाँ पे, that's basically going to be the urinary bladder. It is my urinary bladder. ठीक है, ये पूरे यूरिनरी ब्लैडर से घूम के इट विल टेक अ कंप्लीट स्ट्रक्चर, इट विल मेक अ कंप्लीट राउंड like cover up the complete urinary bladder, and then it will come over here. So it will be the structure in which the male gametes are going to travel, right? Now your male gametes travel along with this, and now will reach at a certain point, and at that point you have a presence of a vesicle, which is my seminal vesicle. Now we'll understand what its role is going to be later on, but this is one of the gland. Seminal vesicle is one of the accessory gland. So seminal vesicle is basically going to be a accessory gland. Is going to be a accessory gland. And this accessory gland, right, will have something in it, right? This gland will have something in it, and this gland will deposit whatever it has into a common chamber. So what will happen? So you have a common chamber over here. So assume that this is your chamber, or I will rather make it like this. You have some secretion coming from the accessory gland, right? Let's make something like this. You have some secretion coming from the accessory gland, and you have a vas deferens which is coming from another side, bringing the male gametes. यहाँ से मेरा आ रहा है यहाँ पे vas deferens, and the vas deferens will be having the male gametes. So this is my vas deferens over here. Vas deferens. In short, I'll write video over here, and this green one here is going to be called as my seminal vesicle, which I'll write over as a SV. Okay. Now what is happening? You are finding over here. यहाँ से मेरे क्या आ रहे हैं? यहाँ से मेरे आ रहे male gametes. So from here, I'll be finding you will have the male gametes over here. So male gametes are traveling from here, right? These are all my male gametes. Okay. Here from the seminal vesicle, you will find some secretion will come out. Some alkaline secretion will come out. Now these both secretion will mix together or will come together in a single duct, and you will have a presence of a duct over here. So these both secretion are coming, and they are forming a common duct over here. And this common duct over here is called as my ejaculatory duct. So seminal vesicle, vas deferens are forming a common duct, and that common duct is called as my ejaculatory duct. Ejaculatory duct. And through these ducts, now what will happen? Both the things are going to mix now. जो आपके seminal vesicle से आ रहा था वो भी mix हो जाएगा यहाँ पे. यहाँ से जो भी आपका आ रहा था, whatever the alkaline solution coming from this particular area, that will also come. And from there, the sperms are going to come, and now they're going to mix. And through the ejaculatory duct, now they're going to move forward towards the other part. So from here, now they will go towards the other part of the reproductive system. So this is something you have to know. You have an ejaculatory duct over here, and it will have the mixture of both will come over here. So from one side, you will find a seminal vesicle is going to deposit your male gametes, which will be coming from there. Sorry, your alkaline solution. And from the vas deferens, you will find the male gametes will come, and they will pass through this ejaculatory duct. So this should be clear to all of you. So ये बात समझ आ रही है आपके यहाँ पे तनिष्क, गायत्री and Shika? Is this clear to all of you?
Yes.
All right, ठीक है. Now have a look over here. So it passes through the inlingual canal into the abdomen and loops over the urinary bladder. So now they have written a statement. It passes through an inlingual canal into the abdomen and loops over the urinary bladder. ये किसकी बात कर रहे हैं लोग यहाँ पे? What they are talking about? किसकी बात कर रहे हैं लोग? Statement देख के बताओ what they are talking about. ये कौन से structure के लोग बात कर रहे हैं? Loops around the urinary bladder. यहाँ पे hint मिल गया आपको बहुत बड़ा. It makes a circle around the urinary bladder.
Vas deferens.
Right, bilkul sahi. They are going to talk about my vas deferens. They are talking about my vas deferens. So that is something we are talking about. Okay. So now you can see the water, the vas deferens and the duct of seminal vesicle. So now have a look over here what they have mentioned. The vas deferens, just wait a minute. The vas deferens and the duct of seminal vesicle unite to form a short ejaculatory duct. They are going to unite to form a short ejaculatory duct. This is also called as my ductus ejaculatorius. Okay, so that is something usually finding forming over here. So now from here, now the sperms will again start going, and from here now the sperm will enter into a region called as my urethra. तो यहाँ से अब मेरे male gametes आपके male gamete plus whatever the secretion you have now will get inside a region called as my urethra. तो याद रखना यहाँ से आपने पास कर लिया. Once you have passed this area, now you can see I mentioned over here. Once you pass through this area, now you will enter into a region, and that region is called as my urethra. So from here, the next region over here is going to be my urethra. So please understand, from here, the male gametes will now enter into a region called as my urethra. Okay, so now let's talk about my urethra now. तो यहाँ तक हमने देख लिया. अब हमारा next part है यहाँ पे आपका urethra. Let's see what is my urethra and what it is known for. See, now passage of spermatozoa. Now let's see how the spermatozoa are going to pass over here. Let's have a look at that. You have a seminiferous tubule. अब आप लोग बताओगे next क्या आएगा? So from here, where it will go? बताओ शिखा, आप बताओ. From seminiferous tubule, the sperm will go where?
Retitestis.
Right, it will go into the retitestis. Very good. Right. From retitestis बता दो तनिष्क, यहाँ से कहाँ पे जाएगा? तनिष्क नहीं याद आ रहा. From retitestis. बोलो. It will go towards vas efferentia.
से होते हुए एपिडिडाइमस.
हाँ, फिर यहाँ से आपका जाएगा, it will go into the epididymis के अंदर. गायत्री, epididymis में से कहाँ जाएंगे? वो where the sperms are going to go from the epididymis? गायत्री. From here, it will go into the long tube-like structure, and that long tube-like structure is called as my vas deferens. Right, it will go into the vas deferens. So this is something you have to remember. भूलना नहीं है ये. So याद रखना, you have to know the passage of the sperm. So seminiferous tubule से retitestis, then vas efferentia, then epididymis, and then into the vas deferens. Okay. Then vas deferens से शिखा कहाँ पे जाएगा ये फिर? From there, ejaculatory duct. From that, it will go into the ejaculatory duct, and then from ejaculatory duct, it will go into your urethra. So this should be clear to all of you. ये याद रखना, अगर ये याद नहीं रहा तो फिर काम नहीं बढ़ेगा आगे. Right? So Shikha, Gayatri, and Tanish, I hope this is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Now, so after this, you will find. So from the urethra, now the sperms can be deposited in the vagina of the female. So now that will be deposited over there. Now let's have a look at few things. Now when we discuss something like a urethra, right, which is also called as a urethra, is also called as my urogenital duct. So please remember this thing very clearly. The urethra is also called as the urogenital duct. शिखा, नेटवर्क ठीक है आपके यहाँ पे या नेटवर्क नहीं आ रहा?
सर थोड़ा सा खराब हो गया था आपसे.
सही है. So urethra is also called as my urogenital duct. Now please know that the reason you call them as a urogenital duct because this is a region. This is a region from which you will find the sperms and urine both is going to pass. It is called the urogenital duct because this is a region from which I will be finding the sperms as well as urine both passes. Both seems to be passing from this area. So yaad rakhna clearly, that is why urethra is also called as my urogenital duct because both the things are going to pass through this particular area. Okay, so now let's have a look. It is a shared terminal duct of a reproductive and urinary system. Something I've just mentioned. It is a shared terminal duct between the reproductive and urinary system. It originates from the bladder, urinary bladder, and passes through the penis. and it is going to pass through a penis. So that is something you have to know. That is your urethra. Now, it opens outside by the external opening called as my urethral meatus. ये याद रखना, the urethra is ultimately going to open outside through urethral meatus. That is going to open outside through the urethral meatus. Okay, so this is a very simple thing which you can all remember. Now, after this, now here we have again shown you the picture. Now, if you now see the picture, now you know what are those things and what the things are going to be known for. Now, if I ask you, what is my epididymis is known for, तो तनिष्क क्या करता है मेरा epididymis, बताओ जल्दी से.
Maturation and storage of sperm.
Right, sperm maturation, storage of sperm. And when I say maturation, I can also say over there the motility of the sperm is by the, right, in this particular area. Very true. Okay. Then tell me, any one of you tell me, what is going to be the role of your scrotum? So raise your hand or I will ask you directly. Shikha, बताओ क्या होगा scrotum का role?
सर वो 2.5 डिग्री सेल्सियस लो टेम्परेचर रखता है देन दी नॉर्मल बॉडी टेम्परेचर.
और वो रखने का रीजन क्या होता है? So that it helps in a spermatogenesis, right? You need to temperature for the spermatogenesis, right? And so now you can see all those structures over there. You can see the ejaculatory duct over here. You can see the urethra, right, which is passing through the urinary bladder. Urethra is also called as my urogenital duct because urine and your sperms, both of them are going to pass through the urethra. And you have the structure which is called as your penis. Now, penis is a external genitalia. Penis is a structure through which the male is going to deposit the male gametes into the female reproductive tract. Now you can have a question. So you will get a question, what are the male external genitalia? The answer is going to be the penis. So penis happens to be the male external genitalia. Now this structure is a structure through which you will find the male gametes can be deposited or transferred to the vagina of the female. So it serves as a urinary duct and also introment organ that transfers the spermatozoa to the vagina of the female. So that should be clear to all of you. Okay, तो यहाँ पे हमने हमारा reproductive system पूरे तरीके से मेल का जो था हमने हमारा देख लिया. Now what is remaining right now? You will find male accessory genital glands. What are the genital glands is something now we'll try to see. Okay, so now you have these three glands over here. The three glands are going to be your seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and corpus gland or bulbourethral gland. So these are the three glands you will find are the glands of your like male accessory genital glands. So ये तीन नाम आपको यहाँ पे याद रखने हैं. Now when you get these three names, seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and bulbourethral gland, remember that out of these three glands, two of them are in pair. So my seminal vesicle will be in pair, मतलब वो दो होंगी, right? Bulbourethral gland is also in pair, but your prostate gland is a single. It's a single gland. बाकी सारे pair में होते हैं. Seminal vesicle, bulbourethral are in a pair, but prostate gland is a single gland. So that is something you have to know, right? So now let's discuss something in terms of seminal. So you can see the picture over here. You can see the seminal vesicle, which you have already seen. एक बार अभी हमने देखा था कहाँ पे होता है वो. We have seen that. Then your prostate gland, it's a large gland. You can see it's the size of a golf ball. गोल्फ का आपने बॉल देखा है बच्चों लोगों को गोल्फ खेलते हुए, वो जो बॉल का साइज होता है उस साइज का आपका होता है यहाँ पे आपका प्रोस्टेट ग्लैंड, राइट? And then you have your bulbourethral gland, which cannot be seen right now over here, but we'll show in another picture. You also have a bulbourethral gland. It is lower to the prostate gland. Okay. Now, let's do one thing. Let's try to understand something in terms of the seminal vesicles. So, फटाफट हम लोग देखते हैं यहाँ पे हमारी story of my seminal vesicle. So when you discuss a story of a seminal vesicle, so please understand few things. First of all, you have to understand what are they going to secrete. So इनका secretion यहाँ पे क्या होगा? So what kind of thing they are going to secrete over here? So now let's try to see that. Okay, let's do it. So the seminal vesicle are the one which are going to secrete something like your alkaline solution. So they have alkaline secretion. They have alkaline secretion. Okay, they release around whatever they are going to secrete. So what happens? Now, see, and let me tell you one thing over here. These three glands, they are collectively going to secrete a fluid, and that fluid is going to be called as my seminal fluid, right? That fluid is called as my seminal fluid, right? So seminal fluid will have secretion coming from all the three glands: prostate gland, seminal vesicles, and your bulbourethral gland. So they'll have a secretion of a fluid over there coming. Now this fluid is something which is going to mix with the sperms. This fluid is going to mix with the sperm cell. So you can call it the seminal fluid or seminal plasma, whatever you can call it as. Let's call it as a seminal fluid right now. Okay. So this secretion will be coming from all the three collective glands. Now, if someone asks you कि इन तीनों में से कौन सबसे ज्यादा secrete करता है seminal fluid, then answer is my seminal vesicle. So seminal vesicle will have around 60% of the secretion will come from the seminal vesicles. So 60% of the secretion is coming from the seminal vesicles. So whatever the fluid secretion is coming from all the three, सबसे ज्यादा आपका है seminal vesicles से. Now the question is that what kind of secretion it has. You know it's alkaline solution, but this alkaline secretion के अंदर होता क्या है? So in this alkaline secretion, you will have presence of few things. You will have presence of fructose. You can have presence of your calcium ions. You can have presence of your citric acid. You will have one more important, prostaglandin. These are the kind of secretion you can find coming from the seminal vesicles. Seminal vesicles will have fructose, calcium ions, citric acid, prostaglandin. These are some of the secretion, and so you have much more number of things, but these are the main component you will find in this particular coming thing from the seminal vesicle. Now, please remember this thing. All this content which is coming from the seminal vesicle, now, that is going to nourish the sperms. Because when the sperms are going to flow along with the urethra and this secretion will be getting mixed with the sperms, this secretion is actually going to nourish the sperms. It is going to nourish or going to benefit the sperms. For example, fructose is being used by the sperm as a source of energy. This fructose over here is being used by the sperm as a source of energy. So sperms can use this as a source of energy. Right? On the other hand, you have your prostaglandins. Prostaglandin is a biomolecule which actually stimulate contraction of your uterus. It stimulate contraction of uterus.
Oxytocin.
हाँ बेटा, ऑक्सीटोसिन तो बेटा वो फीमेल के साइड से आ जाता है. Yeah, that is something which will be coming over there, and that is actually essential for the expulsion of the baby. Now here the prostaglandin, what it is doing now, you actually triggered the contraction of the uterus so that it allows the smooth transportation of your male gametes. So your contraction of the uterus as well as your female vagina is something which will be happening with the help of the prostaglandin, so that there is a smooth transportation which can be happening over there of the male gametes. Okay, so ये आप यहाँ पे याद रख सकते हो. Then you have your calcium ions which are known for the activation of some enzymes. Citric acid also becomes a source of food, a source of energy over here. Citric acid, you must have heard this term in the Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle में सुना होगा आपने citric acid, which is also called as my citric acid cycle. Now same citric acid can be used over here to generate ATPs, right? So these are all molecules which you find in the coming from the seminal vesicles as alkaline solution, and they are going to nourish the sperm. They are going to help in the overall sperm nourishment and successful deposition of the male gametes, right? Then after this, the next one was my prostate gland. After this, the next one was your prostate gland. Prostate gland was someone who was not in pair. Prostate gland is something which was not in the pair. So prostate gland will have a slightly acidic secretion. So yaad rakhna, it will have slightly acidic secretion. Slightly. Just wait a minute. It will have a slightly acidic secretion. Acidic secretion. Okay. This also we can collectively say that it is going to nourish the sperm. It increases the motility of the sperm, so sperms will regain the motility because of that. So we can directly say it nourishes the sperm. In a simple language, you can remember it as it nourishes the sperm. It again nourishes the sperm, right? And then you have a bulbourethral gland. You have bulbourethral gland, which is again going to be in a number of 2. So bulbourethral gland is the gland which has a slightly different role. So again, it will have alkaline solution, alkaline secretion. This will also have the alkaline secretion. It will also have an alkaline secretion. The secretion coming from the bulbourethral gland is going to be very less. So if someone asks you कि सबसे कम secretion कौन कर रहा होता है आपका यहाँ पे seminal fluid का, so that is going to be the bulbourethral gland, which is going to be having the least amount of secretion. कुछ सवाल था क्या तनिष्क आपका? तनिष्क, you asking something?
No.
Now what it does now understand one thing. Your male gamete have to pass through the urethra. Urethra is your urogenital duct. If it is a urogenital duct, that itself means what? That particular area will be slightly acidic because of the urine. So whatever the secretion is coming from the bulbourethral gland is going to neutralize the region of the urethra. It is going to neutralize. It is going to neutralize the acidic. Just wait a minute. It's going to neutralize the acidic region of urethra, and that is been done so that my sperm can easily get transported. I hope you understand. If a urethra is going to be acidic now because of the urine, right, what will happen? That a sperm will not be able to survive. When the sperm will pass from there, they will not be able to survive. So you have to neutralize that area. So you will be finding this neutralization of that particular area will be done because of the bulbourethral gland. So its secretion will make sure that the urethra will get neutralized. That means जो भी acidic area वहाँ पे उसको आप neutralize कर दोगे. So because of that, the sperm can pass through the urethra without getting affected by the acidic condition of the urethra. So this is what my bulbourethral gland is going to be known for. तो यही इसका यहाँ पे आपका काम हो जाता है. So that is what it has been known for. Okay. So it also acts as a lubricant. So basically I can call it as a lubricant in the urethra. It acts as a lubricant in urethra, because that is also one of the terms they generally use in the exam. Now let's have a look over here. Seminal vesicle, it's an alkaline viscous fluid that forms around 60% of the semen, right? The fluid contains fructose, protein, citric acid, inorganic phosphate, phosphorus, phosphate, and prostaglandin. This is what you will find in the seminal vesicle, and I have already told you what are the roles they are going to play. Fructose is a source of energy. Prostaglandin is something which can trigger the rhythmic contraction of the uterus, which allows a smooth transportation of the male gametes. So these are the 2 things you have to remember. ये सब आपको याद रखना है, लिख लेना ये सब चीजें. You have to remember all those things very carefully. Then you will have your prostaglandin. Around 15 to 30% content is coming from the prostaglandin, right? The fluid from the prostate is clear and slightly acidic. The prostate secretion activates the spermatozoa and provide the nutrition. The prostate secretion activates the spermatozoa and provide, okay, it has got repeated over here. Which is up here repeat हुई है. So this is what you find happening over. They provide the nourishment to the sperm. Okay, and then you have your bulbourethral gland, which is also called my corpus gland, secretes an alkaline fluid. The secretion lubricates the urethra and act as a flushing agent. Flushing means जो भी आपको वहाँ पे यूरिन का जो एसिडिटी है उसको आप वहाँ से निकाल देते हो. So it works as a flushing agent. It washes the acidic urinary residues present in the urethra before ejaculation. Ejaculation means a deposition or releasing of the male gametes, and before that you have to ensure that the sperms are passing through a urinary tract without getting affected by the acidic condition over there. तो वो खत्म करता है मेरा यहाँ पे मेरा bulbourethral gland. So इतनी बातें आपको याद रखनी है. This is what you have to remember about the bulbourethral gland. Now tell me, Shikha, Tanishk and Gayatri, is this thing clear to all of you? यहाँ तक सबको clear है?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. Okay. ठीक है. गायत्री को भी clear है, सबको clear है. Okay. ठीक है. So these are the points and should be very, very, very clear. Na? Kaun kya secrete kar raha hai? It should be very, very, very clear to you. Okay. So now you can again have a look at this picture. So now you have a prostate and you have all those glands over here. Okay. Now, okay, one more thing. We have already discussed this previously as well. The penis is the external male genitalia, right? And the head of the penis over here, which has been mentioned here, and I want you to go through the NCERT as well. It's called as a glans penis. The head of the penis is called as my glans region, and the penis will be covered by a skin. The penis will be covered by a skin, and that skin is called as my foreskin. So these are the few things you have to have a look at that. Okay. Now, so we have seen all those glands over here. Yad rakna, seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and bulbourethral gland. If I ask you out of these three glands, which gland was single in nature? कौन सी single थी?
Prostate gland.
Prostate gland is going to be single in nature. This is a gland which is going to have slightly acidic secretion, but the secretion is going to nourish the sperm or give the nutrition to the sperm. Right? These are the things you have to know. Now let's solve some questions. First of all, over here, let's have a look at some questions. Now, if a vas deferentia of a man is surgically cut. अच्छा, उसके पहले क्वेश्चन देखने के पहले एक चीज यहाँ पे समझ लो. There is a term known as your seminal fluid. Now, seminal fluid basically means what? All those three glands were having some secretion, and the secretion is called as my seminal fluid, right? This seminal fluid plus your sperms, seminal fluid plus your sperms are called as my semen, are called as your semen. Okay, so seminal fluid plus sperms are collectively called as my semen over here. Seminal fluid is nothing but a fluid which is coming from all those particular three glands: prostate, seminal vesicle, and bulbourethral gland. वहां से मिल रहा seminal fluid, and that plus semen is called as my collectively as a semen. So that plus sperm is called as my semen, right? And this semen is something which has been ejaculated from the penis into the vaginal tract. So that is something you have to remember. Now, understand this thing very clearly. That if you cut down this region, अगर मैं इसको कट कर देता हूं, समझो मैं यहाँ पे कट कर दिया, मैंने अगर वास डिफरेंस को यहाँ पे कट कर दिया, मैंने इसको कट कर दिया. Now tell me, will the sperm become a part of my urethra? Will the sperm ever reach the urethra? नहीं आ सकते, कभी नहीं आ सकते. You cannot find the sperm reaching into the urethra. अगर आप यहाँ पे कट लगा देते हो, if you make a cut over here into this particular area, then there is no possibility of the sperm reaching into the urethra, right? Now tell me something, will the urethra will have the seminal fluid?
No.
Seminal fluid कहाँ से आ रहा है, लेकिन वो तो देखो कहाँ से रहा है वो. Seminal fluid is something which is coming from here, na? It is coming from the seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and your prostate and your bulbourethral gland, जो आपका यहीं पे कहीं पे आपका bulbourethral gland आपका यहाँ पे होगा. So याद रखना. Now understand. Now you understand this much amount of thing. Now try to have a look at this question over here. If a vas deferentia of a man are surgically cut or blocked, then क्या हो सकता है? Now read all the options over here and then give me the answer by raising the hand. So question को आप यहाँ पे ध्यान से देख लो. मैंने आपको काफी हिंट दे दिया, वहां पे बहुत सारा हिंट मैंने वहां पे दे दिया. आप खुद से आप इसे कर सकते हो. If the vas deferentia of a man are surgically cut or blocked, then which of these options is going to be correct over here? Now you have to answer this. गलत नहीं कर सकते तुम लोग यहाँ पे. All right. शिखा, क्वेश्चन समझ आ रहा है आपको यहाँ पे? शिखा, गायत्री.
Yes, sir.
Right. तो क्वेश्चन समझ आ रहा है? देन हैंड रेज करेंगे आप लोग इसका आंसर देने के लिए. I cannot see the raised hand. All right. ठीक है तनिष्क, बताओ इसका क्या आंसर हो सकता है यहाँ पे?
D part.
शिखा, आपको क्या लग रहा है?
Sir, option D.
And Gayatri, what do you think?
So option D.
All right. Now you have to explain everything over in detail. We'll start with the Shikha. Now Shikha, tell me, you are saying semen without the sperm. Now this is the correct answer. The semen will not have sperm, but will have the seminal fluid will be there, right? Now tell me something, Shikha. In the seminal fluid or in the seminal plasma, the highest amount of secretion comes from which gland? बताइए Shikha.
Sir, seminal vesicle.
Right. Okay. Now also tell us, Shikha, in seminal vesicle you have alkaline solution. That alkaline solution will have what are the content you find in the small vesicle? Batao.
Sir, fructose,
Mhm.
calcium ions, citric acid, and
Prostaglandin.
prostaglandin.
Right. Yeah, these are the few things I'll be finding over there. Very good. Okay. ठीक है. Now, next question. Testosterone is coming from which cell? Tanish बताइए आप. Testosterone is coming from which cell? Which cell are going to release the testosterone? बताइए. चलिए तनिष.
Lydic cells.
हाँ.
Lydic cells.
Lytic cells. कहाँ होते हैं lytic cells?
The interstitial space में इसको interstitial cells भी बोलते
Interstitial space में आपको लगेगा lytic cell. वहां
हैं।
से
दो seminiferous tubules के बीच में
स्पेस होता है उसे. राइट. बिल्कुल सही. Now tell us what my testosterone is going to do. What role is going to play?
spermatogenesis में हेल्प करेगा और मेल सेकेंडरी सेक्सुअल कैरेक्टर्स को
Very good. Right.
हेल्प
बिल्कुल
करेगा।
सही. That is something my testosterone is going to be known for. Okay. Very true. ठीक है. Right. Okay. Good. Right. So that should be clear to all of you, and so all three of you should be clear with all those things. So now let's solve another question. Seminal plasma has a sperm and secretion. So raise your hand to answer this. Gayatri, जल्दी से क्वेश्चन को देखिए ना, आंसर करिए. मुझे आंसर चाहिए. Seminal plasma has sperms and secretion of. Hey, Gayatri, you have to answer this. Gayatri, tell us what is the answer over here. Simple question, Gayatri. Simple question. Tell us.
Sir, the option C, sir.
Right. And I'm assuming Tanishka and Shika will also go with the option C. Yes, seminal vesicle, prostata gland, and corpus gland are the one which will be which are the ones which are going to secrete all the secretion coming in the semen. Testosterone is secreted by. There's something. Shika, बताओ क्या होगा इसका आंसर?
Sir, option D.
शिखा, अब आपको थोड़ा डिटेल में बताना पड़ेगा कि आपके सर्टोली सेल कहाँ मिलते हैं. बताइए. शिखा, सर्टोली सेल कहाँ मिलेंगे हमें?
Sir, inside seminiferous tubules.
Right, inside seminiferous tubules. Right, and what they are known for?
Nourishment of sperm.
Nourishment of sperm. Very good. That is what they are known for. Okay. The nutritive cell found in a seminiferous tubule. Again, people have to raise their hand to answer this. The nutritive cell found in the seminiferous tubule. बताइए तनिष, क्या होगा इसका आंसर?
Sertoli cell.
Right. Sertoli cells will be a correct answer. And those cells are going to be playing the role in my, yes, nourishment of the sperm. Right. Vas efferentia are ductless leading from. So vas efferentia are the ductules leading from. So ये कहाँ से कहाँ भेज रहे होते हैं, कहाँ से कहाँ connect कर रहे होते हैं. So again, it's a very good question. We have seen that it's a bridge. It's a bridge connecting two things. So now you have to tell me what is that bridge going to be. शिखा, गायत्री, सबको आना चाहिए इसका आंसर. बताइए गायत्री, क्या होगा इसका आंसर?
Sir, option A.
तनिष, क्या लग रहा है?
Sir, A.
शिखा, क्या लग रहा है आपको?
Sir, option A.
Right. Option A over here becomes my correct answer. So yes, option A becomes your correct answer of this. Right. Okay. So these are the questions we have solved over here. These are the questions we have seen in this. Right. So that is something you should be very much over here clear with. Now let's come back over here. Let's come back to हमारा पहला picture. And now let's and all of you should please make sure that you remember the passage of the spermatozoa. You should be very clear with the all these things over here. Now let me come back. Now tell me what is how the ejaculatory duct is getting formed. You have to raise your hand and tell me how your ejaculatory duct is getting formed. There is an area somewhere where the ejaculatory duct is getting formed, not over here, but let's say in the somewhere over here. So now you have to tell me where this ejaculatory duct is getting formed. So tell us, Shika, कहाँ पे बनता है ejaculatory duct?
The point where the seminal vesicle and vas deferens meet.
Right. The point where my seminal vesicle and vas deferens are going to meet, that's where I will finding my ejaculatory duct is getting formed. Right. So this is something you should be very much clear with. Now I will try to ask you the questions over here. You have to tell me the correct labelings over here. So now this structure, this पूरा सा लंबा सा ऐसा बैग लाइक स्ट्रक्चर यहाँ पे है ना, बड़ा सा बैग लाइक स्ट्रक्चर. You tell me, तनिष्क आप बताओ ये बैग लाइक स्ट्रक्चर यहाँ पे क्या लग रहा है आपको यहाँ पे? This bag like structure over here which you can see, what do you think with this bag like structure is going to be? क्या होगा ये? बताइए तनिष्क.
Urinary bladder.
Right, this is my urinary bladder. This is going to be urinary bladder. All right, true. Then Gayatri, you tell us, above the testes you have this structure over there, this coiled structure you can see above the testes. So now Gayatri, you tell me this coiled structure above the testes, it is going to be called as what?
Sir, epidermis.
Right, this is going to be called as my epididymis. True. Then the penis can be seen over here. The penis can be very clearly seen over here. Now you have to tell me this region. This I'm just look at the point over this region over here. Shika, this region is called as what? This region here is called as what?
Seminal vesicle.
अरे नहीं, ये वाला बाबा, ये वाला, ये ब्लू वाला पॉइंट देखो ना यहाँ पे, ये वाला दिस पॉइंट. सेमिनल वेसिकल तो यहाँ पे, सेमिनल वेसिकल तो आपका यहाँ पे आएगा. दिस विल बी माय सेमिनल वेसिकल ना, राइट? So this point over here is called as what? Tanish, tell us.
Urethra.
Right. This over here is called as my urethra. Urethra. Tanish, bata do, urethra is also called as what?
Urogenital
duct. Very good. It is also called as my urogenital duct. तनिष्क आप ये भी बता दो मुझे कि आपका जो यूरोजेनाइटल डक्ट है, इसके अंदर की एसिडिटी को आप कैसे न्यूट्रलाइज करते हो? हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू न्यूट्रलाइज द एसिडिटी इन द यूरोजेनाइटल डक्ट? So urogenital duct will have, they see from here the urine is also going to pass. So we'll have acidic condition in that particular area. So how that acidic condition is being neutralized? बताइए. अच्छा, आवाज कट रही है आपकी. गायत्री, you tell us. Gayatri, you tell us how you are going to neutralize the acidic condition in the urethra. अभी तो जल्दी आंसर चाहिए मुझे.
By bulbourethral gland.
What the bulbourethral gland is going to secrete?
Sir, alkyl secretion.
Alkaline solution, right? Alkaline secretion will be there, and that secretion is going to ensure that you have a neutralization of that area will be done. So that area will get neutralized over there, and because of that, the sperms now can bypass from that region very easily. Okay, right? Now, this हाँ तनिष्क बताओ.
ये तो फिर सेमिनल वेसिकल से भी होना चाहिए ना अल्कलाइनेशन, क्योंकि उसको भी तो सेक्रेट करता है अल्कलाइन सेक्रेशन.
दोनों आएंगे. सो आपका यूरेथ्रा भी करेगा, आपका सेमिनल वेसिकल भी करेगा अल्कलाइन सेक्रेशन. द ओनली स्लाइटली एसिडिक सेक्रेशन विल बी कमिंग फ्रॉम माय प्रोस्टेट ग्लैंड. ठीक है. अब ये जो अल्कलाइन सेक्रेशन जो आपका आ रहा है बल्बोरेथ्रल से, इट इज समथिंग व्हिच इज गोइंग टू बी एंश्योरिंग दैट, क्योंकि आपका वो बिल्कुल बहुत पास में होता है. दैट ग्लैंड इज एक्चुअली ओवर हियर. यू कैन सी दिस स्मॉल पिक्चर ना, ये जो आपका स्मॉल पिक्चर है आपका यहाँ पे, this is actually a bulbourethral gland. This is your bulbourethral gland. So I'll just write over here BUB. Okay. और यहाँ से जो आपका secretion आ रहा होता है, which is going directly into the urethra, going to have alkaline solution so that you can actually neutralize the acidic condition in the your particular male gametes in that particular urinary tract, so that the gametes don't get affected over there. Okay. So alkaline दोनों साइड से आ रहा है, bulbo से भी आ रहा है आपका, and even from the seminal vesicle. Okay. Now you tell me, you have the penis over here, the large head area of the penis which is going to be present over here, that area is called as your, Tanishk batao.
Glans of penis.
Glans penis, right? So that's a glans penis. Okay. And do remember, the penis is going to be quite muscular. You will have number of muscles over there, but it's not a part of a NEET curriculum, इसलिए मुझसे करेंगे नहीं. But penis will have number of muscles which will be used during the ejaculation. Okay, so that is something you will see. Now, after this, you will have, so you have a bag like structure, that's my scrotum. That is something you can very clearly see over here. Okay. Now, tell us in this, this particular structure, this structure over here, this big structure you can see over here, ये कौन सा स्ट्रक्चर है मेरा यहाँ पे, ऑरेंज कलर का बड़ा सा स्ट्रक्चर, और इसका काम यहाँ पे क्या होता है? रेस करेंगे आप लोग हैंड अपना यहाँ पे. This orange ball like structure which I have told you looks like a golf का ball, it is the size of a golf का ball, this structure is going to be what? बताइए गायत्री.
Sir, prostate gland.
That is going to be prostate gland. And how many prostate gland are going to be there in the male reproductive system?
Singles.
Right. Single prostate gland आपको यहाँ मिल जाएगा. You will have a, that is going to be the prostate gland. So labeling should be very, very, very clear to you. Labeling अगर आपको सही से मालूम है, if you know the role, that's enough. नीट में बहुत कोई कॉम्प्लेक्स क्वेश्चन आपको नहीं आएगा यहाँ से. अगर क्वेश्चन आता है तो बहुत स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन आपको यहाँ पे आ सकता है. हाँ, they can ask you the transportation of my spermatozoa, जो पहले भी पूछा गया है. You can get such kind of question. So what are the questions I'm going to ask you? They are very doable only if you know everything over there very clearly. Okay, this should be remembered all the time. So I can see you are able to label all the structures over here, and that's what you need to do. That's what you have to remember in this, right? When we'll catch up again, we have to start with the female reproductive system. Male is something we are done with. Male में जो भी मैंने आज आपको कराया उसका NCERT आपको thoroughly आपको read करना है. And I'll share with you around not more question, but I'll share with you 5 to 7 questions. Just make sure you solve the 5 to 7 questions. ज़्यादा question इसलिए नहीं दे रहा because I have already given you sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So Gayatri, Tanishq and Shikha, you have to solve those questions initially, and then you can look for something else, right? So initially you have to solve those questions because I have to share with you more questions from that particular chapter. क्योंकि Sunday को उसका ही test होगा. Sunday को you will get around your 40-45 questions from that particular chapter. So we have to solve more number of questions so that we can have a grip on them. ठीक है? तो इसमें से मैं आपके साथ 4 से 5 क्वेश्चन शेयर कर दूंगा या 5 से 6 क्वेश्चन शेयर करूंगा, वो कर लेना. सिंपल वाले होंगे, right? And solve them. Okay. So again, I'm asking you collectively, all of you, is the male reproductive organ clear to all of you? क्या ये वाला part आप सबको यहाँ पे clear है?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's clear to all of you. ठीक है. Great. So that is something we have done. Okay, just wait. That is something we have done. And Gayatri, please make sure you have a look at all those things. अगर इसमें से कोई चीज़ आपको यहाँ पे समझ नहीं आती, then उसे आप एक बार देख लेना. Just have a look at all those things which you have covered, right? कल के क्लास में तो आप थे. And please make sure ये 3:30 की क्लास में आप लोग टाइम पे ज्वाइन कर लिया करो. Don't miss out on those classes, right? Don't be late because you'll miss out on something. All right, so these are the things you have to remember. All right. So now I will share the slides with you. I will share with the questions in the, I think by evening I will share that with you. Right? अब मुझे बताओ कोई specific अगर doubt हो तो. Shikha, Gayatri, do you have any specific doubt over here with the topic which you have covered right now?
No, sir.
No doubt. Right? अच्छा, और homework कब तक हो जाएगा? Homework कब तक है वो भी बता दो. Till when I can expect homework will get completed?
सर आज तक हो जाएगा.
आज हो जाएगा. ठीक है, तो आज ये जो मैंने क्वेश्चन शेयर किए थे वो तो कर ही लेना. उसके साथ जो 5 करूंगा वो भी कर लेना because it won't take more amount of time. वैसे तो it won't take much amount of time. ठीक है, so please do that. Gayatri, you also make sure you do the homework.